feel like Wichita was the birth of a living legend. I love Wichita and will always be grateful to what Wichita gave me. For real, for real. I want to say to Wichita, man, just think outside the box. Don't get caught up in the right way. There is no right way. There's your way.
All right, man. So I'm here with Dax. How you doing, man?
Man, good. How about you?
Pretty good, dude. Just off the bat, I want to say thanks for, answering the call. I reached out to you. I mean, it was back in like August, and you gave me your number and been talking back and forth since trying to get this set up. So just
Oh
wanted to
yeah.
say thanks. And if you could just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself if they don't know who you are.
Oh yeah. So my name is Dax. Up and coming music artist. The connection between me and Wichita, I moved there for basketball initially after high school in Canada, and I was playing prep school. Then left Wichita to go play D1. Uh, right before that, I was at JUCO. Then went D1 in Missoula, Montana. Then came back to Wichita, Kansas for my last 2 years of college at Newman University. Junior year, while I was at Newman University, started writing poetry. The poetry turned into music, and now I'm here.
Awesome, dude. So what drew you to Wichita? I mean, I know you were at Sunrise, but why Wichita out of anywhere else?
That was just the only place where I found a prep school that I could go to that would help me, cover the cost of playing basketball in the States.
Gotcha. Cool, cool. Where does the name Dax come from? Because your name's Daniel, right?
Yeah.
Where's the name? Did you give yourself that name, or did somebody else call you that?
Yeah, I gave myself that name. So basically, if you take DAX and you put a bracket around the X is like a variable. So like I substitute X for N. So Dax is still Dan.
Nice. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
A little more intelligent than some of the other rap names, maybe.
Yeah. It's all
Cool.
good.
Nice. So just to touch on basketball a little bit more. So you played a year at D1 and then at Newman. Was there a reason you went from D1 back to Newman, or do you just like Wichita? Or
Yeah, there was a coaching change at the University of Montana when I was there. The person who had originally recruited me left to a different school.
gotcha.
And it just didn't work out with the new coach, and it just never ended up,
Yeah, I feel you.
running in my favor. So it just had to be over.
Yeah, that makes sense. And when you were at Newman, your senior year, you led the conference. So were there thoughts like your senior year of trying to play NBA or overseas or anything?
Yeah, that had always been the goal. Like, was try to play in the NBA. And I guess that junior year of mine, when I started writing poetry, I just found like my another love, and I found something that I was like truly talented at. I
Uh
think
huh.
basketball wasn't necessarily a talent; it was more of like a practice skill I had.
All right.
So once I found that there was something I was naturally talented at, I just transitioned pretty seamlessly, honestly, into just doing it full time.
Right. And that seemed like pretty good timing. I mean, only a couple years till you're out of college and you got to go figure out what you're doing. So that's cool.
Yeah, it was great timing. It's crazy when I think about it, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. Did you have a backup plan? Like, what's your degree in?
Communications.
Okay. Did you know if you weren't going to go pro in basketball before like poetry and rapping and everything? Did you have a plan?
No, I was just gonna be basketball.
Nice. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
no plan B. Just stick with plan A.
Yeah, I don't believe in Plan B's.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So I saw you play in some of those like sneaker con games and stuff like that. Is that something you want to continue to do? Is try to play and keep your feet wet in basketball like that?
Yeah, I'm always trying to, go and, play in any game, celebrity game and stuff like that. Just anything that's like structured. I don't just go and play pickup randomly here and there, but anything that's like structured and has some like,
Right.
let's say publicity involved, I like to play in.
Right. Right. So I could definitely see you like at the All Star game next year or something. It'd be pretty
Oh yeah,
sweet.
most
Looking
definitely.
forward to it. Do you think you're like pinnacle of celebrities or artists as far as basketball?
In terms of like how good I am at basketball.
Yeah, like I know like J. Cole and some of those other guys can play pretty well, but you think you could beat most of those guys?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Pretty easy. Okay,
For sure,
okay.
yeah.
And then I saw a quote there was an article in Vipe or something a couple years ago about you in Wichita, and your coach Kyle at Sunrise was saying you have a work ethic similar to Buddy Eald.
Oh
Where did that
yeah.
work ethic come from? Have you always had that, or?
Yeah, I think I got it from my parents. Honestly, I think that's probably where it's passed down from because they just work, at a rate that's just alarming. Most people can't even fathom.
Right, right.
which the things that I grew up seeing, that type of work. Most people can't even dream working that hard. So I
Yeah,
get it from them.
gotcha. Are they back in Canada still?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool, cool. And so that work ethic then transitioned from while you were playing basketball to being a janitor or custodian. How was that something you wanted to do or something you had to do?
Yeah, it was the easiest job for me at that point, and I needed money. So
Right.
I was going to school during the day, and I was still playing basketball up until the last semester of college. But yeah, I was going to school during the day. I was worked overnight.
Very cool. Very cool. And I think that, I mean, you use it in a lot of your songs, but I think it's really cool so that you can connect to, I mean, the everyday person. A lot of guys can't say
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah, it's just it's nice to always find ways that you can connect to the closer you can make people feel to your journey, the more you can motivate them. So I always try to, depending on the song, give notice to that.
right, right. So you said you kind of just stumbled onto poetry. Was there something that got you into poetry, or is that something you've always been interested in?
I've always I've always like freestyled growing up. You know what I mean? Like I used to, if someone put a beat on, and we would just shoot the shit. I'd fuck around and try to rap on it. So people have always said, "Oh man, you should rap," and I was like, "Nah, I don't want to be a rapper." And I've always been just good with words. I can. So that's why I'm good at the one take videos and stuff
Right.
like that because you know I can put words together really well, really fast in my head and make it sound good.
Absolutely, yeah. I was listening to you a little bit ago, and my wife, the first thing she said was, "He's very articulate with his words," which she doesn't
Yeah.
say about a lot of artists. So,
Yeah. So yeah, for sure. Yeah.
did you perform any of the? So you wrote a lot of poetry. Did you perform any of that spoken poetry in college?
I used to go from to different schools and not necessarily do the poetry, but do like motivational speaking.
Right. Okay.
I did a
I think
couple
I've seen a couple of those little videos you did back in the
Yeah.
day. So
Yeah. So I performed the poetry live a couple times.
nice. Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. So the first video I saw, I didn't know. I mean, I guess I caught you. It wasn't really late, but was the "Shape of You" remix, and I was
Mm.
like, "Wait a second! I know that bridge across Kellogg," and I was like, "That's pretty cool." So I
Yeah.
passed that around to my brothers and some of their friends and stuff. But
That's
um,
lit.
so your dream about Tupac, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was back when I started. It was during the time when I had started with the poetry, and so basically, I found out that Tupac had also started with poetry, and sort of I think there's like a backstory about Tupac that a lot of people probably don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even done much research on it myself, but it's a story that he did start from poetry in school and stuff like that.
Right.
And I started to find similarities and connections in between our story, and I think that sort of spurred the dreams maybe with that the law of attraction. Just thinking about that more,
Yeah.
it was a dream, just that not like I felt like what the understanding from the dream was is that you have the opportunity with the way you speak and how you can affect people, not just with like music and how your music may sound, but more about the words and how you say them
Mm-hmm.
and what you're saying to motivate people, and that not a lot of artists have that opportunity. There's a lot of artists that have dope music and did this and did that, but it's like some like not everyone can just talk to somebody,
Yeah.
say stuff, and have people be like, oh wow, like wow, let's go and do it. So
Right. Right.
the understanding I got from the dream is sort of that it was my obligation to transition from poetry into music, and that things would go my way. That was my understanding from when I came out of those dreams. It was that this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
You start doing this, things are just gonna start going your way,
That's
and like you
powerful.
and like you will be successful, and the stars will just align for you.
Hmm.
So
Nice, nice. And
yeah,
I think you can kind of tell that in your music. Like even going back to some of your earliest videos, like you're just very confident that you're gonna be at the top at some
yeah.
point. So for sure. Were you always a big Tupac fan growing up?
Yeah. I mean, think Tupac. I wouldn't say I was a huge fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really call myself a fan of anybody. I fucking hate that word.
Mm-hmm.
But he was definitely played a lot during the times when I was trying to become a better basketball player in the early on.
Yeah.
later on he wasn't played as much, but like early on, like seventh, eighth, ninth grade, there's a lot of Tupac being played in my
Yep,
ears.
yep.
At that point, it was me trying to like conquer this like being the underdog in like basketball.
Sure, that makes sense. Since you started to rap here in Wichita, do you think that affected your style at all, or it would have been the same wherever you started at?
No, I think it would have been the same wherever I started. I didn't watch anybody. I don't gain in like in terms of like, I don't watch people and like gain inspiration. I just sort of stick to what I feel is like my calling.
Yeah, I got you. Was there any resistance from people in Wichita, like your friends or anybody else in Wichita?
Um, I think there was a couple things here and there with guys with like, like videos. Dudes would be like, "Oh, you're taking our video ideas and stuff." When we were just like, "Bro, we're just getting in the location and rapping," like.
Right,
So it was little things like that, but we never like paid too much attention to it because just random stuff. But which has been pretty supportive for the most part. I think I wasn't really shown super much love. But I wasn't looking for it. Like
right.
I didn't expect it. Like I'm from Ottawa, not Wichita, but I still like to say that I started in Wichita, but also heavily rep Ottawa too. So I think it was cool. I think more people are starting to recognize. I hope they I always tell people I'm not the guy to go against because I'm not gonna put any effort into going back against you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nor like do I care. I'd rather just be okay. Like, you're not gonna say bad things about Dax and have Dax come back and say bad things about you
Yeah,
because I'm not gonna waste my time.
right. Very positive.
Yeah, it's just very irrelevant. So it's like you might as well support someone like me because I'm more liable to try and help you. So it's
Right.
like so I don't see much resistance because I don't look for it. So
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of that is Wichita just not knowing about you. I mean, you do have
yeah.
a pretty big social media presence, especially YouTube. But like, I mean, I found you. I think in that video you said you were 9 months in when I first found
Yeah.
you, and like, I like hip hop music, and so. But I mean, I think as more people hear about you and hear your story, I think Wichita is definitely going to claim you. You're from
Yeah.
Ottawa. Wichita will definitely claim
Yeah.
some of that.
No,
So
I'm hoping Wichita claims me. I'm hoping Ottawa claims me. Even Ottawa doesn't really know about me that much. Like I was back home recently, but before that I hadn't been home in like 3 years. And last time I was there, I didn't even make music. So it's like I'm
right.
hoping all these places I mentioned, claim me, and I'm able to, speak for those in those places.
Yeah, definitely. At what point did you think music could like be your life, or that could be the end? Was that before or after you moved to LA? Did you think you could like make that?
As soon as I wrote my first poem, I was on the bus to a game. As soon as I looked down at the page, I wrote it on my phone. As soon as I wrote that first poem and felt like, damn, you wrote this, but it doesn't even feel like you wrote it. As soon as I wrote that, I was like, it's game over.
Yep.
And that's when I was like, dope. I was like, that's when I was like, wow, I have a talent. I never believed in talent. I was always because I knew basketball wasn't my talent. I had worked like you think I worked hard at music. I worked extremely hard, like obsessively hard at basketball to become what I was.
Mm-hmm.
But this was my first time doing something. I was like, wow, you're naturally good at this shit. Damn. All you got to do now is work at it.
Right.
So that's as soon as I wrote that first poem, I knew.
Nice. So I'm guessing there wasn't really a lot of doubt along the road, or were you ever close to giving up at it? Or it sounds like you were pretty sure of yourself throughout, confident.
Yeah, I was. I don't think I was ever close to giving up because I don't like. I mean, as a person, I don't see. I don't like. There's very few things that I will tell you I can do unless I know I can do it. I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Yo, I can fucking." Oh damn! Hold up.
You're good.
Ooh. Wow, my fucking damn. I left the stove on all day here,
Oh shoot.
but it was on low though.
Sheesh. So it was almost the number four.
Yeah, but imagine just like any type of like thing being lit. Goddamn, that's fucked up. But
I'm glad you caught that.
yeah, shit. I just looked over like, damn, that shit's blue. But damn, and it's one of those like gas ones too.
Uh huh.
Fuck, this shit's probably flammable as fuck in here right now. You light anything, you. Oh my god. But what was I saying?
Just you weren't really close to giving up or anything like that. So.
Yeah, no, I don't see. Once I make a decision, it's game over. I don't see. It's not. I never think about giving up. It's just I know if I sit down and think
Hmm.
enough about something, I can find a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
So like I know if I just that's what I do every day. And when I always say big plays, like damn, I know if I like sit down in this chair and just like think about how to make a big play in this music shit. If I sit down here for like an hour or two,
Hmm.
there's no way I can't come up with an idea that's gonna further me. You know, so
Right. That's cool. That's cool. So is your goal to get a record deal coming up? I mean, 2019, 20, whenever that is, or are you trying to make it independent? Because I think like Chance the Rapper is independent, or however that works. But
yeah, well, independent's a real loose term. I think in the music industry, like I don't. If you have funding that's not independent funding, then I don't consider you independent.
right, that makes sense.
It's, some people say independent, but they have label backings. It's like if you're independent, but you have. I mean, if you're independent, but you have a family that has millions and millions and millions of dollars, you're not independent.
Right,
So I think like when I say independent, it's different than when it's like dependent on this person's situation. So it's not my goal to stay independent. I don't think for me, like it just says, it doesn't make sense to want to be alone.
right. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
It's not my goal to want to be independent. I know that any rapper I've ever looked up to is signed. So it's my goal to eventually sign a major record deal, one that's like never been done before, but it just has to be the right one. And
Yeah,
I have to be able to walk in there and just be like, I don't need you. But I would like to work with you.
nice. That's awesome. How has the response been since you released the EP? Was it different than a lot of the YouTube remixes, or?
Yeah, I think the EP is just a lot of people don't even know about the EP. There's a lot of people that haven't heard it,
Hmm.
and it's slowly people are slowly starting to hear about it. I think once I release this next single and drop all the music videos off the EP that are left, people are gonna be
Yeah.
like, oh wow. This is my goal. Like, I don't want to be known as just a guy that raps because I can do this sing and I can make songs that I feel can like be on the radio with anybody. So I'm excited to put out these music videos and gain more recognition for that EP and just continue to push it gradually. I think when people hear it, they're shocked a little
Yeah.
bit.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's a good shock though. It's not like a, oh, he's trying to be mainstream. Oh man, no, because like the songs still have some type of meaning to them.
Yeah.
And relate to like like all night long. It's about just working all the time.
Hmm.
It sounds like it could be on the radio. So it's like I don't sacrifice um, my integrity
Yeah.
for a song.
Right. And I think it does sound different than a lot of the remixes too. It's still awesome, but it's definitely
Yeah.
different than some of the other ones.
Yeah, and the remixes are just for fun. Like the remixes, I just sit down. It's just me. Just like I know they're good for if for an artist who doesn't have any backing or doesn't know anyone in the industry and has no idea how the fuck to gain traction, which in the beginning I had no idea. Like
Hmm.
it's good to remix a popular song, for searching purposes on
Oh, for
Google.
sure. Yeah.
So yeah.
What's your writing process like? So do you get a beat first and then start thinking about the content, or do you have the content and
Yeah,
then find a beat to match?
yeah. Early on, my writing process was very. I was patient.
Hmm.
I'm no longer patient. I don't just like to sit down and write anymore. I have to hear a beat.
Yeah.
If I'm writing poetry, I write the poetry first. But if a song, I have to hear the beat first. And if I'm not like inspired off like my first listen to the beat, I just don't write.
Yeah.
Unless I really, really need a song. But like what I always do, I always tell myself, okay, just trust. This isn't basketball. That's what I always tell myself. This isn't basketball where you had to work super hard at it, and like I would work like 10,000 hours and still miss shots in a game. But even though I scored a lot, but like music is different. I feel like I'm musically inclined, so it's like trust your talent, and just because you hear this beat and maybe you didn't come up with something today, or the day after, or the day after, or the day after, but just trust that it'll come. So my music writing process and music making process
Hmm.
is don't force it. If I
Right.
don't if I don't make music for 10 days, I don't make music for 10 days.
Right.
If I don't make music for a year, fuck it. It'll come eventually though. I'll be inspired, and then when I do, like, I'll make enough songs to where I'll be, and I always believe just things are going according to God's plan. So I don't, stress. The writing process is really just hear a beat and just write to it. Not a lot of the time in studio now.
Right, right. So on your Serve and Protect song, you mentioned that you resurrected hip hop.
Mm.
What killed hip hop? What's the toxic attitude in hip hop, or what's your
Nothing,
view on that?
nothing killed hip hop. I think when I say I resurrected hip hop, I feel like I'm subconsciously talking about I'm bringing back something that isn't as I don't think there's anybody in my lane right now. I don't think there's like I was thinking about this the other day. It's like because I think hip hop is more than just music. It's an attitude. It's a grind.
Hmm.
It's a Master P type selling, shit out the trunk type crazy grind. That just people do, and I think that's what I'm bringing back. I don't think I'm not saying my music is the best. I'm not saying my music is unique. I'm not saying although I think it is.
Hmm.
I'm just saying that there's no one right now that's grinding like me. And I think anyone who can watch can be like, you know what, that because I don't want people to judge me off the don't judge me off the music. Don't you can obviously they're going to don't judge me off of the singing voice. Judge me off of like, damn, this motherfucker is going hard.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like I'm bringing back the grind to hip hop because I feel like a lot of hip hop right now is like you have to be in the right situation to make it, or you have to know the right people and have the right
Hmm.
funds and be this or this that or this that or this that to make it. So I feel like I'm fuck.
Hey, I'm Jake's friend, Alina.
Oh, okay. I was like, this girl showing up to my crib with a suitcase.
Sorry.
Oh no, don't be sorry. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
I'm doing this little podcast interview. I'm Dax.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, so welcome. This is our house or our apartment. His room's right there.
Okay.
Where are you from?
Indiana.
Oh wow.
So, same place he's from. I've
Yeah.
been traveling all day, so I'm not quite all there right now.
Oh, okay. You guys like friends, boyfriends, or like girlfriend, or what do you guys do?
Just friends.
Cool, cool. Well, nice to meet you. I'm just doing this podcast, so it's all good. Don't be. All right, I'm back. What was I saying?
You're good. You're just talking about how you're grinding, and a lot of people aren't.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying people aren't grinding. Everyone has their own grind, but I'm saying I feel like my grind is very different than a lot of people's,
Right.
and I think that's what I'm bringing back to hip hop, where it's just like that, that grit, that grind, coming out of situations that aren't, it's not the most favored, or you know what I mean, like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because there's
And
some
also,
people that might just know somebody.
I think I use a lot of passion lacking in hip hop.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of like it's sort of trying. I don't want to say like being cool because obviously that's a big thing. Trying to be cool, like I try to be cool too, shit. But I mean, but like I just feel like there's a lot of like there's a lot of passion lacking and stuff. You know what I mean? So I think I'm bringing that back.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, yeah, I guess as part of that, your grind. I know I personally think, but I'm just like, how does he put out so much stuff? It seems like every week there's a couple songs coming out, or a
Yeah,
video, or another video, and yeah, it's
yeah.
impressive.
That's my goal when I started. It was always I want people to feel like this motherfucker Dax is everywhere.
Yeah, like you don't
Like,
sleep.
like how is he doing this? Like how is he here? How is he in this comment section? How is he then dropping this? Then he's talking with this, then this. I hear the boop. Like how is this one man doing all this? You know what I mean? So that's my goal. And obviously with the help of Thad Swift, who's my video guy, he helps me make all this content along with some other video guys too. I've helped along the way that I'm super grateful for. So and people who make beats and like right now I'm working with a good name Lex Noir. There's a guy named Joe LeBeau who helped me a lot too. Biscuit and butter. So that's just the goal is to is be everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. Thad, was he from Wichita? How would you guys link up?
So it's funny. I basically I saw someone sent me. There's another rapper in Wichita named his name's Isaiah Holloman. What's his rap name? Fuck, Chaos.
Okay.
Chaos showed me a video one time. He's like, because I used to go to the mall and then I'd write because I'd show him like poems and shit. And he worked at Foot Locker and he showed me a music video. He sent me one. I'm like, damn, whoever filmed this shit, this is a clear ass video. And
Yeah.
at that time, I wanted my poetry to look like music videos.
Hmm.
That's how I planned to like revolutionize poetry because I wanted to make poetry cool. So I was like, damn, who filmed this video? I looked at Dad Swift, Facebooked it, messaged him, and then we met up at Wichita, and I was like, yo, we're gonna change the world, and then we just started working together.
That's all. Yeah, I mean, I see his name on pretty much all of your videos, and they're all, I mean, top notch.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What's it been like to like kind of climb the ladder almost? Like you've hit the YouTube stuff. Now you're starting to work with like, I mean, you've worked with Hobson a couple times, which
Yeah.
I mean, I remember him from when I was in high school, like the early Ill Mind of Hobson days, and now going on tour with Tech Nine. I mean, what's that been like to kind of step up?
It's been great. It's been going according to plan. You know, I think it's a blessing to be able to be recognized, and be able to go and do these things that like it's just a blessing to be like considered a legitimate music artist, because so many people have tried to like trap me in that, oh, you're a YouTuber, or oh, you're a, you know, people try to put you in so many different boxes, and I've always just told myself that I'm the only person who can put myself in a box.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always excited when I get to level up and just, you know, make another big step in my career that takes me outside of whatever box society tries to put me in. So it's been great to, like, you know, people recognizing me and being considered like a music artist, like, you know, like, yeah, that's that nigga who makes music.
Right,
you know,
right.
So,
What's your biggest show been? Was that one of the like shows in China? I saw those were like 40,000 people or some
yeah, well,
ridiculous.
that was a festival. My
Okay.
like in terms of my own shows, I haven't really done my own like
Mm-hmm.
just purely my own show. I did one in Ottawa. It was like right now I'm probably selling like, you know, like maybe like 50 to 100 tickets maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like in terms of my show grind, that's a whole nother monster.
Right.
People don't understand, like that's totally different from the internet.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, but I knew that I had to focus on one because I'm just doing it all by myself. Like, so I can't just like be doing all that. So I really focused on like the internet and the music grind, the content creation, and now I'm really starting to focus on like doing shows, which, you know, the tour is really great. So, you know, the myself, like probably putting like 50 to 100 people to a show, sometimes less, but I haven't done many on my own. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's humble beginnings in terms of that too. But I love the process, and I'm not, you know, scared to perform in front of fucking 3 people. I don't give a shit, you know.
Right.
Like, so I love that.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I'm excited to see you in Wichita with Tech Nine. That's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah,
So,
man, the Tech Nine tour is a fucking blessing. I'm going back to Wichita, going to Missoula, Montana, going to Casper, Wyoming. Like
that's
every
cool.
single place I wanted to touch, I'm touching. So it's great.
That's really cool. Yeah, I was hoping. I looked at it because I heard you had that big announcement coming out, and I saw you were going on tour. And first thing, had to make sure you're coming to Wichita. So,
Hell yeah.
because I think Tech comes pretty much every year, so I'm glad to see making it back.
He tours like a fucking monster, yo.
Yeah, he's a busy man. What was the final straw moving out to LA? Was that just you graduating, and that was the next logical step?
Yeah, it just made sense. That was where, like for example, when I left Canada, because I wanted to play basketball at the highest level, so I'm like, damn, I got to go to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, I want to make music at the highest level. Fuck, I got to go to L.A. You know.
Right.
So I just go where it's hot.
Yep. You mentioned in a couple interviews that you could be a better singer than you are a rapper, and then in some of your old music videos, you did kind of a back and forth acting thing. Is that would you ever branch out into something like that, acting or another branch like that?
Yeah, I think it's my goal to win an Oscar someday. So I plan to start acting. I tried out for a role. I don't think I got it because I think if I would have gotten it, they would have hit me back. But but yeah, no, it's just progression. Like, you know what I mean? I think the most fucked up shit that people really think in their mind, they don't like, social media doesn't allow people to really get a good job of seeing point A to point B. And I think that's what I try to make sure I do, and explain that like this started here and now it's here.
Right.
And I'm always gonna let you know where it started, not for my benefit, but for your benefit, so you know that you don't have to just end here right now.
Yep.
Like, you don't have to be where I'm at right now. There's a progression. I remember when I started, I didn't rap as good. My shit sounded awkward.
Mm-hmm.
My movements weren't as fluid. Like, I was awkward. You know, I was like, so I try to make sure I like continuously let people know that there's this progression that's involved in anything successful, and that no one starts here. So I forgot the fucking question, but yeah.
No, you're good. It's kind of the Gary V document, don't create. So people can see where you came from, and they can go back and watch all the old stuff and see exactly where you came from.
Yeah.
So what's it been like to get all the attention you've been getting lately? I mean, I saw the picture with Gary V. You've been on, I mean, a lot of big time podcasts on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What's that been like?
It's been good. I think there's a lot of responsibilities that come along with more exposure.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've always been ready for those responsibilities. There's a lot of there's good things that come along with it, there's bad things that come along with it.
Mm-hmm.
There's dangerous things that come along with it.
Right.
I've been in some dangerous situations people know about. I've been in dangerous situations people don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't talk about. Know what I mean? So there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad. I think for me, and I try to tell you that you're not going to avoid it. Like someone as positive as me, who like I don't promote any gang violence. I don't perpetuate that. I don't even act like it, and I don't make people like think that I do that shit. But that shit still gets involved. So it's like that comes along with the music industry. But it's always just navigating with respect. Never letting a situation overthrow your morality, your morals as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I tell people all the time, there's a lot of good, but at the end of the day, whatever comes along, good or bad, the first thing you got to do is breathe
Mm-hmm.
and just like what's the situation and what's the best thing to do right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Even when someone tries to put money in your face, it's like
Mm-hmm.
cars in your face, this that offer you this, like you have to breathe in every situation. You know what I mean? And I've turned
Mm-hmm.
down a lot of crazy things. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
just yeah, it's just
Keep it
being
true to yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the most impressive things to me is just how positive you keep everything. I mean, not just in on social media, but like in your music. Like you might be having, I mean, it might be like a kind of an angry sounding song, but there's an underlying positive message throughout it all.
Yeah, but I just the way I grew up is I still have I can't wait until I have a bigger like world fan base where I can really just speak on like the hate people like really show others. It's just like to go out of your way to put someone else down publicly for me is such a crazy thing
Mm-hmm.
and like such a what it whole it really and like I can't wait to speak on that like more in depth like as I get bigger and have a more like worldly fan base of people that like really 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 listen to like my words and stuff like that because it's just like for me the things I see on just like social media and being a music artist is just like dog like what
Right.
fuck.
So I saw your picture with like the 2019 goals. So we're 2 months in. How are those goals coming along?
Man, they're coming along great, man. A lot of the number goals are looking good. This My Last Word song is really going to be a big, thing. I said 50 shows. I'm crossing that off with tech. I said 50 shows, major tour, support a major tour. That's going to be locked off.
Check, check.
Everything's really looking good. But it's just I got to just keep my foot on the fucking pedal. So
Mm-hmm.
it's looking good though.
Good, good, man. Have you always had I've heard your biggest goal is to put something in the world that will last forever. Has that been something you've always had, or since you started poetry, or forever, or
Yeah,
what?
I came about that during poetry, but I've always had that mindset as a human being because my mom always told me growing up that I was going to be like, quote unquote, that nigga, or just like I was really going to do something positive with the world
Mm-hmm.
or for the world. So I've always had that mindset that there was something great I was supposed to be doing, and I thought I was going to garner that through basketball and use that platform to spread that around. But now I know it's this that's gonna do that for me. So that's still the goal is to put something into the world that lasts forever. And even as crazy thing is that goal sounds so great, but it's so subjective, which is sort of like
Right.
mentally taxing on me. But it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. So for your goals, do you like look where you want to be and work backwards from that, or are you just thinking, all right, just keep writing whatever comes to mind for goals?
Yeah, I write down a bunch of goals. I know that like I don't get too like I don't stress over it too much. You know what I mean? I know there's gonna be things that I don't accomplish, and I know there's gonna be things that I do. But a lot of the goals I'll throw out there. Some of them will sound outlandish, but it's like I'm not stupid. I think a lot of like I always try to tell people like if I write something or say something, there's a reason I wrote or say it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't throw things out there that I don't think I can do.
Right.
Because it's just as simple as that. Like you know what I mean. So everything I write down. I pretty much I see the steps and I can see the calculations as to what moves need to be made to get there. So, and I just let people know. I think that's my path. It's for everybody. That's not the way,
Mm-hmm.
but everyone's in different situations. So
Right. Yeah, it might seem crazy to some people, but if you think
yeah,
that's reasonable, why not?
yeah.
So you almost died 3 times, right? Is that what
Yes, sir.
I've heard? Okay, so What do you think that's about, or why do you? I mean, do you think you made it out of those three because you're meant to do something bigger? What's your thoughts on those?
Yeah, I think it was by God's grace on those, the fire and the car fire, house fire, the accident. Yeah, I think I like to think and believe that I'm meant for something greater. But I hate saying that because I want my goal is to make sure everyone feels that way too. Like I don't
Right.
now that I'm gaining a bigger platform, it's like a lot of people haven't seen my poetry that are coming along now. So
Mm-hmm.
they really get confused by some of the things I say and see it as like a maybe like a an ego type shit. But my goal is to not say Dax is special. My goal is to be like everyone's special, but you have to believe it in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Like so that's my thing. I think yeah, Dax was supposed to Daniel and Dax was supposed to make it out of that situation. But that's not to take away from anybody listening and saying you're not supposed to make it out of it. It's supposed to saying we're both supposed to do that shit, bro. But it's just like maybe I'm doing it because I believe this in a certain way. And
Right.
my goal is to convince people to believe in what they're doing the same way I do. That's why I'm creating my family and the people. Like I feel like the people around me are starting to believe that too. So it's nice to hear like people of the family hit me and be like, yo, this happened today. So yeah. I do believe I was supposed to make it out of that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of leads to my next thing. You mentioned God a lot in your stories. Have you always been a believer, been a Christian, or has
Yeah,
that been?
I don't call myself a Christian or a Catholic or none of that. I believe in God,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe there's definitely a connection. And I believe that God made us all and all of that great shit. I believe in all of that,
Right.
and that's as far as I take it. I don't try to. I'm not a preacher. I'm not going to tell. I encourage everyone to have a connection with God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to tell you to go to church. I'm not going to tell you to pray. I think you should. I pray, and I've seen things happen in my life that I believe was definitely there's no way some things could have happened to me without a higher power being put in there and putting that shit together.
Yeah.
So like that's the way and I tell people all the time, there's no way all this shit on earth could just be here just by chance, yo. There's too much. The intricacy that goes into a human eyeball is ridiculous. And to think that this shit was just scientifically formed randomly, for me, is just fucked in the head.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
yeah, I do believe in God and encourage anyone to do that.
That's awesome, man. Is there any specific inspiration for the hairstyle, or is that just something you came up with?
Yeah, it's something that I started it when I wasn't even making music. It was just me. I always told people at the University of Montana when I started growing, it was like, yo, this is $1 million hair. I used to tell people that from the beginning when I played basketball. Yeah, this is $1 million hair. This was before even people were even doing this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been had this for like 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean now? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But for me, it's like I just told people, yeah, I just said this is $1 million hair. And for me now, it's like this. It's in the music industry right now. It's like if someone just sees Dax on the street and has never talked to me before, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, he makes music, and he probably makes music like that." Just by the way he looks, yeah, I bet you he makes music like that. So there's a shock factor once they actually hear me speak.
Right.
And when you shock people for the first time, ooh, there's no better thing.
Very cool,
So
man. Very cool. I got to point out. So in almost all your videos, you either don't have a shirt on or
mm,
you just have a jacket with no shirt on.
yeah,
Is there any reason for that, or just showing off the hard work, or?
I just think it looks dope. There's are some videos and a lot of pictures where I do have a shirt on. Like a lot of the thing was back in Kansas. I didn't have a lot of money, and the outfits
Mm-hmm.
weren't just like what I like. So I'm just like, damn, I just look better without a shirt. And I always like, for me, it was just like, damn, motherfuckers are born naked.
Yeah.
When
Why
I
not?
when I go swimming, I don't have a shirt on. So it's just like it looks dope. So I was like, bet this is lit. And I work hard at staying in shape. So and it keeps me motivated to stay in shape because I always know, like, I got all of a sudden I always have my shirt. People like, oh man, Dax must be getting fat. So it motivates me to keep going.
Yeah. Do you lift quite a bit, like often?
Every day.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool. What's your morning routine like? Are you an early morning person? What's your routine look like?
I wake up according to like what time I need to wake up to now because I don't play basketball, so I don't gotta like work on my game in the morning. But my
Right.
morning routine is I wake up, I'm probably in my bed for like the first hour and a half, just on my phone, going through a bunch of messages, replying to people back, just doing anything that needs to be done, and then from there on, it's whatever the day has in store. Right now, my life's pretty I can do a lot of just what I want whenever I
Mm-hmm.
want. But with these tours and these shows that are starting to come, it's about to get a lot busier, and I'm
Right.
just preparing for that.
Yeah. Have to figure out a new routine when that comes.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there anything you recommend to people a lot? Like, do you like to read or any movies or podcasts or music or anything like that?
I there was one summer I read a lot of self help books, a lot of motivational books, 48 Laws of Power. Any book that's going to increase, your mindset. I read the Kobe book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just there's nothing wrong with empowering yourself. That's always good. So I would recommend that for sure.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite failure in rapping or basketball or life?
My favorite failure is D1 not working out.
Yeah.
I worked so hard for so many years to get to D1. So hard, just like unimaginably hard. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I got there and it just didn't work out. You
Yep.
know,
Mm-hmm.
everything fell into place for me getting there. But when I got there, everything fell out of place. But I was still put in a position to redeem myself. But it's crazy, Astro. I don't got time for because I low key got to leave soon for this other.
Yeah, you're good. I'm almost done. You're good.
But yeah, D1 not working out was my greatest failure. Was my for real my greatest failure. It was such a blessing. Because if I would have stayed at the University of Montana, I would be nowhere near in the mindset to write a poem.
Right.
You
Happens
know
for a reason. Yep.
exactly. So the fact that D1 didn't work out, I was there for a year. It was great. A lot of shit happened too. But so yeah, it's my best failure.
Awesome. What's your definition of success?
My definition of success. I don't know if I found it yet. I've been asked that question a couple times, and people say, "Yeah, being happy."
Yeah.
That's not enough for me.
Yeah.
You know, being happy is great, but I still want to accomplish shit. I still want to, I still want to when 100 years from now. Maybe that's my goal. Putting something to the world that lasts forever. 100 years from now, people are still like, "Yo, that motherfucker Dax." The same way people still talk about Tupac. That's like my definition of success.
All right.
Time, timeless.
Very cool. Do you have a life motto you live by, or what's some of the best advice you've received from somebody?
My life mottos. What are Dax life mottos? Do more than you're paid for, and eventually you'll be paid for more than you do.
Mm-hmm.
Live tired. So you got to get comfortable being tired.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not tired, you're not working. Um, don't. What's another one? Don't let people who do nothing for you take everything from you. What that means is all these motherfuckers like who say shit or talk about you, they don't mean shit. They're like they're not. I don't let anybody who does nothing for me affect any decision. Like social media, nothing. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just for me. And I always say that's one another one. Let use anger as fuel. Anger is positive. You know what I mean? So I take
Mm-hmm.
I take negativity and I turn it positive and use it to my benefit. So that's another one too. Hella shit, man.
Yeah,
I
you're
got
full of them for sure.
I'm full of them.
Awesome. Just back to the Wichita. What was your favorite part of Wichita when you were here?
My campus, my university campus.
Yeah, Newman was pretty cool.
Yeah, Newman was cool. Yeah, the city was cool. I'm not a huge like I like to party and stuff like that, but I was just I was consumed in what I was doing.
Yep. And then just kind of the last question: what does Wichita mean to you?
What does Wichita mean to me? Wichita means the start, the birth. The Wichita allowed me to take a deep breath and really look at life and get my first job. I never wanted a job. I just wanted to go straight to the NBA. It allowed me to spawn my creativity and write poetry, which Wichita was really the birth of, I feel like I have a living legend. I have that tatted on me multiple. So I'm gonna fucking say it. I feel like Wichita was the birth of a living legend. I love Wichita and will always be grateful to what Wichita gave me. For real, for real. Now,
Awesome, man.
now,
Is there anything you want to say to all the people that will listen to this?
I want to say to Wichita, man, just think outside the box. Don't get caught up in the right way. There is no right way. There's your way.
I love it. Awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you calling. I mean, this is 45 minutes, and it's more time than I thought I'd get with you, so I really appreciate it.
No problem, my dude.
Yep, I'll spread the love. Good luck,
Hell yeah.
man. See ya.
Bye.